Good Sunday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Sunday. I am your meteorologist, Peterson, and let's go on and talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your week. Again, it's Sunday evening. That means that we will be talking about the week forecast for the week of July 27th going into August the 2nd. That's July 27th going into August August the 2nd. But first, before we even get into that, if you have not hit the like button or subscribe button, make sure that you go on and do so. Also hit the share button as well. Share it with all of the people that you know because we're trying to get to 600 subscribers. We are at, right now, 548. We are only 2 away from that halfway goal of 550, and we are obviously 52 away from that goal of 600, which is the main goal. But let's go on now, which I already said I was going to mess this up, and I already did. Let's go on now and talk about what we are going to talk about today. We will be talking about obviously the dangerous heat wave that will continue into the midweek with heat index values up to 105 to maybe even 115 degrees, especially tomorrow. Overnight lows stay very warm near the 80s, and that will cause some increased chances just for heat stress, heat exhaustion, all of that stuff. Also, scattered afternoon storms are likely each day through Thursday, producing gusty winds or downbursts. We'll also talk about a cold front and some relief that could potentially be coming through on Friday as a cold front pushes in on Friday, and it drops the highs from around 80 degrees by the weekend and brings some more widespread rain. And cooler air finally settles in for the weekend as well. And we'll be talking about lows in the 60s this weekend. So, a lot of things to talk about, but let's go on now and talk with the recorded audience for the people who can unfortunately not make it here tonight. Good Sunday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. Hopefully, everyone has had a fantastic Sunday. I am your meteorologist, Peterson. Let's go and talk about the weather for your Sunday evening going into your future. Now, looking at the radar right now, we do have some rainfall going on. That goes all the way from Lancaster to Heath Springs to Winnsboro over towards Great Falls as well inside of South Carolina. And right now, I mean, is this any sort of thunderstorm activity included? Yes, there is some lightning that is being detected. 93% chance of some lightning going on over here near Lancaster, going over towards Heath Springs and Bufford, South Carolina. So for sure, these showers and thunderstorms that you see right here is producing obviously that lightning. And then as you continue to see what's going on throughout the entire U.S., we do have some rainfall going all the way from North Carolina over to Virginia, Kentucky, and Indiana, Illinois, going into West Virginia, and even New York getting some rainfall. We also do have some rainfall going on in Minnesota, going into South Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, California, Nevada, and New Mexico as well. As we go into our cloud cover, we do have some heavy cloud cover right now that goes all the way again from where those thunderstorms were we just talking about. We also have some cloud cover going on over there towards like the PD and the Grand Strand of South Carolina, but for like the Low Country, the Western Midlands, and the most of the upstate, it's relatively clear. Cloud cover for the future. As we want to push this forward, that cloud cover will actually become a bit more widespread by the time we get into later tonight, and then as we get into tomorrow morning, cloud cover really starts to take over a lot of the state. So we might have a cloudy morning going into tomorrow for, most people. Again, this is just the percent chance of this region receiving cloud cover. So for the most part, the more in the blue you are, the more of a chance you have of receiving cloud cover. And most people are in that 100%. But, if you're in the white, that means that you pretty much have like a 0% chance. And the more you get into the blue, the higher chance you have. But if you continue this forward even into like tomorrow afternoon when we need it the most, that's when it seems it wants to take a little bit of a break, but it won't be too long. This is like tomorrow, like late afternoon here. You can see that we do have some cloud cover, still going on, but still not enough, in my opinion, to suppress those heat index values down. Going into our current temperatures right now, you can actually see that on your screen. That actually is a real temperature, 91 still at 9:05 p.m. in Columbia, 89 in Orangeburg, and even 88 in Somerville, 86 in Charleston, as well as 86 in Georgetown, 85 in Conway and Myrtle Beach, as well as 92 inside of Florence, 85 in Greenville, 89 in Clemson, as well as 90 in Anderson, 86 in Gaffney and York, as well as Rock Hill, 86 in Lancaster, and 88 in Union. Going into your low temperatures for tonight, 80 in Columbia, as well as 81 in Charleston and Hilton Head Island, 80 in Myrtle Beach, as well as 79 in Georgetown, 78 in Moncks Corner, as well as Aiken, 79 in Orangeburg, as well as 77 in Winsboro and Newberry, 77 in Rock Hill, 77 also inside of Greenville and Spartanburg, 78 also inside of Anderson. Going into your rainfall, that goes all the way from 8 p.m. Sunday into 8 p.m. tomorrow. For most, rainfall is definitely possible. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch for places like Greenville, going into Spartanburg, going into Lawrence, going into Columbia, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Florence. 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch in those regions are possible, and obviously more as well. Really just matters on where you are, where your exact location is. 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch for like Orangeburg, going into Walterboro and Moncks Corner, going into some other regions again, quarter of an inch to a half an inch for like Rock Hill, potentially maybe even Sumter. And then that half an inch to an inch is possible in like King Street, and then maybe even an inch to an inch and a half over there just to the east of King Street right there in Williamsburg County. But again, these totals will not be exact. They will never be exact. It's just what is forecasted and what models have said. Going into the severe weather outlook for tonight, we actually did get a marginal risk that got inputted over here inside of the like northern PD region, going into like the eastern upstate over there near like Rock Hill. But Florence is included as well, and then those regions up there like Sherrod, Dillon, going into Bennettsville is included in there as well. That is for, obviously, just those gusty winds from 40 miles an hour, and then isolated damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour with some storms that pass through. And obviously, there are storms that are passing through right now, and some of them might have gusty winds. Now, there's no special weather statement, no severe thunderstorm warning, but there are thunderstorms going through. And also that thunderstorm risk still does expand through like the entire upstate, going through most of the Midlands and then the Tri-County region as we move into tonight as well. And we'll wait for that update as well, see what they have, but they have not updated it quite yet. So for right now, this is all we have for now. Tomorrow, the entire state has a chance for a thunderstorm. Again, the entire state has a chance for a thunderstorm as we move into tomorrow. That is, again, for the entire state. And then Tuesday, same thing. Entire state has a chance for a thunderstorm as you move through. The ingredients are in place, and obviously you can see we saw the forecast precipitation totals for tomorrow. And for the most part, we're just going to have to see if that convection starts off. If the convection starts off strong, then yes, we will definitely have some thunderstorms. But if there's obviously not a lot of convection, we can't really tell if we will have that many thunderstorms. It just matters if it gets going or not. But the ingredients are there. The ingredients are there. Excessive rainfall. This one's going to be a bit interesting. Starting off tonight, nothing for tonight, but tomorrow. Look at tomorrow. We do have a minor flooding risk or an isolated flash flooding risk that goes on all the way up here for Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, the Tri-County region, going over here into the Midlands, going into the entire PD and the entire Grand Strand region of South Carolina. That is for tomorrow, Monday morning, going into Tuesday morning. And then for Tuesday morning, going into Wednesday morning, again, pretty much that same area, but it does not include like that Eastern PD and Grand Strand region, but it does include the other part of the low country as well. It includes most of the Midlands, if not all, and then the entire upstate. Day 4 still does not stop. Up here in Greenville, going into Anderson, going to Walhalla, Pickens, those places, again, have another isolated risk of flash flooding, and we are still not done for here. Day 5, this is Thursday, going into Friday. That goes up here for the upstate, going through Rock Hill, and then going on over here towards Bennettville, Dillon, and Mullen, South Carolina. So for the most part, excessive rainfall is going to be in the forecast for most of the week. So again, this is day one. Obviously, nothing tonight. Day two, this is for Monday going into Tuesday morning. Day three, this is Tuesday morning going into Wednesday morning. Day four, this is Wednesday morning going into Thursday. And then day five, this is Thursday Thursday morning going into Friday morning. So excessive rainfall pretty much is possible pretty much all throughout the week. Let's go on now and look at our models. So we're going to start off with the short-term one first, starting off here at 9 o'clock p.m. A pretty good depiction of what's going on right now throughout the state. You can see right here up there where those thunderstorms are occurring right now over near like where Rock Hill, just to the east of Rock Hill. If you continue to push this forward, though, you can see even by 12 to 1 a.m., there still will be some showers going on, and that's probably why they still have that thunderstorm risk there for a good amount of people up there in the upstate. But by the time you get to around 3, 4 a.m., that's when it will start to die off. Continuing this forward even more, once you get to around 7 a.m., this is when my morning forecast update comes out. Nothing going on still. And by the time you get to noon, there's still not a whole lot of convection, which, not the best because some people definitely do want the rainfall just to cool down their area because, obviously you get a shower that will cool you down by a couple of degrees, probably from around 5, 10 degrees or so, which, cooling down 5 degrees is better than not cooling down at all. But this will also help the drought as well. Obviously, you can see the current drought we do have in a abnormally dry area. So technically not a drought, but abnormally dry going on up there for like the majority of the upstate and even the central Midlands as well over there near Columbia. So that will help out. So rainfall definitely, is wanted up there inside of the upstate for sure. If you continue all the way to around 2 p.m., you can see that shower activity starts to get a little bit more widely scattered and actually becomes a more scattered, if not in between scattered and widespread for some isolated regions by the time we get to around 3 to 4 p.m. And look at this, we have all of this rainfall going on and potentially could see some gusty winds, if not some isolated damaging winds with some of these storms tomorrow as well. I know there's no severe threat, but I did read the area forecast discussion for the South Carolina area, and they did say that some of these storms potentially could have some damaging winds with them. So, unfortunately, if you do get a storm, obviously that's something you have to watch for, but definitely beneficial rainfall and will give you a cool down for sure. Continuing through all the way, pretty much the entire state again just has to watch out for some rainfall again as you move through, especially like tomorrow afternoon going into the evening hours. But by the time you get to 9 to 10 p.m. tomorrow night, showers and thunderstorms will have died down like a whole bunch. And then by 12 a.m. going all the way to 1 to 2, maybe even 3 a.m., there still will be some convection going on. And there's a low pressure right there that forms kind of over Georgia at that time going into like July 29th early morning. And that's most likely what's causing some of this convection over here inside of the state. But by the time you get to around 1 to 2 p.m. on July 29th, morning seems fine, dry, but again, just that same pattern over and over again, just seeing that afternoon shower and thunderstorm activity. Now, if you go on, I do want to check and see how much precipitation. And again, that's what I'm saying. It's just very scattered. Some places might not even receive a drop of rain during the next 48 hours. And some potentially, like over here, you can see can receive 2 inches of rainfall. So we really just have to watch your area and just, see what happens and see how it develops. Because these showers and thunderstorms, they can go into any area, anytime. It doesn't matter. So that's why you just always have to have that umbrella with you. Going on to the long-term future, we're going to go on and push this forward right here. You can see by the time we get to around July 29th going into the 30th, obviously, we have that rainfall activity that we were just looking at. And, some of it could potentially be widespread. Again, this is a low resolution, so it will show a lot more than what it might actually be on the day. Like, for sure, not everyone is going to be receiving rain at the same time on July 30th. But continuing this forward even more all the way to July 31st, going into August the 1st as well. You see all of this shower and thunderstorm activity that will continue. Again, this cold front that will be brought in on Friday This will bring us some cooler temperatures. I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, but I was saying that you will have some cooler than average temperatures, and in terms of some low temperatures, we actually maybe might be inside of the low 60s, and some people, I believe the National Weather Service of Greenville, Spartanburg, said that it could potentially be even into the high 50s, but that might be like a high mountain region, maybe not quite like the entire state, but 60s pretty much is the main thing, and that's possible. You can see over here at 2 p.m. on August the 2nd, 64 degrees. That would be just a huge cool down from what we were seeing today going into tomorrow as well. So for anybody that wants that cool down, it's in your future. You're close, but will that obviously continue? Obviously not. Like high temperatures will be right back in those 90s and 100-degree mark by the time you get to around like that mid-August area. So unfortunately, it won't last forever. But you're getting to that point now to where you can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel, though. Continuing through all the way past like the third and the fourth, that low pressure that we were talking about last night could potentially go on and try and do something in the Atlantic, but not can do much to us for now. Continuing through to August the 6th, going into the 7th as well, and the 8th, just shows just some regular South Carolina shower and thunderstorm activity, even once we get past the 300-hour mark. So for the most part, that's all that I wanted to say there. Going on now to the tropics. Look at this. Tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days, but one thing that I will say, if you were there with us last night, you remember that I was showing everybody this. This was the ensemble of models just all put together, and it shows that we might have to be watching for some low pressures to form, or a low pressure to form by the time we get into like that Tuesday time frame, potentially, maybe even as early as Monday, and that could potentially cause some potential issues. Again, way too far out to know exactly, but I mean, no models show it doing anything in South Carolina now, but it shows it kind of curving up and then kind of just going out to sea. Like you can see over here, this is kind of the group that we're looking at. Also, we had that low pressure move off the state that just went off into just like the northern Atlantic at that point, not really doing much at all. So tropics are still active, even though nothing's really expected during the next 7 days. I would not be surprised if they added a little area to watch for as we go into the next couple of days. So we'll continue to monitor that. The crazy score. If you remember this morning, we were at a 91. Now we are at an 88 inside the catastrophic level. Now you might be wondering, there's no major hurricanes, there's no tornadoes, there's no historic blizzards, or anything like that. Obviously, no historic blizzards. But the main reason why it is in that catastrophic category is just because of this will probably be, if not the hottest temperatures of the year. Now, again, we'll wait till we get further into like summer and then into fall. But for now, these probably will be some of, if not the hottest temperatures of the year, and that will cause significant threat to life. Now, in terms of property, probably not, but for life, 100%. I mean, there's already been reports of people having heat stroke, having heat exhaustion throughout the state. So that is one of the reasons why we are inside of that catastrophic category, even though it's not catastrophic to any sort of property or anything like that. But for life, 100%, it is. Life is obviously more important than property, so that is the main reason why it's inside that catastrophic category for now. Again, I don't make this as completely made by a bot, but I can agree with it. I can 100% agree with it. But that's it for our crazy score. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off with Ms. Tolliver, who says, "Good evening. It was extremely hot today. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm curious if we will get some rain soon." Yes, rain is coming. I mean, as early as tomorrow. You could definitely see some rain. But for now, I definitely would be expecting some rain tomorrow. No matter if you might not get rain tomorrow. You might not, but it's there, and it's possible. And we already looked at all the models earlier. And even if you don't get rain tomorrow, you probably will get some rain at least into early, like the first couple of days of August. Mr. Chris says, good evening, everyone. It was hot here amongst corners, showing 86 with a heat index of 95. Again, that's just a testament of just how hot it is, even during these cooler, supposedly cooler time periods of the day. I mean, 80 degrees at like 4 o'clock in the morning is still dangerous. It is still dangerous, no matter if you have to go out to do anything that late. We're going, just if you wake up early, just in general, it's still going to be dangerous. It still will be dangerous. Let's see. Mr. Anthony says, good evening, JP. Good evening to you. Thad says, good evening, all. I hope all is well. Just feel it was a beautiful day today. Great overcast, and I was able to pull some tomatoes and peppers out of the garden. That is fantastic to hear. Sounds like y'all have some, let me go in and check real quick. Yeah, y'all have 97. So it's cooler over there than a lot of parts of South Carolina, but it is still hot. It is still hot. We all must stay hydrated even in the cooler days, like today. Yes, I do. Yes, even if, potentially today could potentially be, the hottest day of the year. Again, maybe even tomorrow. Could potentially be the hottest day. So just even if we get into like these cooler nighttime hours, you still have to be hydrated. Even if it's 8, 9, 10 p.m., you still have to be hydrated, because 80 degrees, that would be like a normal, like going into like spring, summer time frame. Going into like the high temperatures at least. Mr. Michael says, the weather is making up for the unusually cold and snow that we had this past winter. It is. From the snow that we got earlier, it is. In my opinion, I think it's definitely making up for that. Mr. Chris says, this is insane having the heat this late in the evening. Remember to drink water and stay hydrated and take breaks when you can. Absolutely. Again, like I say every single time, there's no shame in taking breaks. There is no shame in taking breaks. If you want to, go inside, even if it's for an hour or two, there's absolutely no shame in it at all. My Nana says, hi, Jay, hello to you. Trail also says, hi, just hello to you. And then Mr. Richard says, hey, from Gray Court. Hello to you as well. And then that is all that we have for tonight for the live audience. Again, we'll go on and check. We'll come back and check. We'll see what we have over here. But first, before we come back and check, and we'll talk about the poll. We'll talk about the top fans for tonight. Let's go on and talk about the 4 locations outside of South Carolina that we talk about, that being San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Duncan, Oklahoma. Those are the 4 locations that we talk about outside. Usually takes about 2 to 3 minutes just to get through them. And we will still be talking about some other stuff for South Carolina right after it as well, and just throughout the entire U.S. in general. So if you want to hear about, other stuff inside the entire U.S., I definitely would still stick around for that. But starting off with San Antonio first, low temperatures tonight at 77, high temperatures tomorrow at 97, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 74. No precipitation that is expected for tonight or tomorrow. But also, in terms of severe weather and excessive rainfall, no severe weather is expected. In terms of excessive rainfall, there is indeed no threat at all. No threat for any sort of excessive rainfall, no threat for any sort of severe weather. Raleigh being the next one, low temperatures tonight at 78, high temperature tomorrow at 98, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 77. No precipitation expected tonight, but a slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. And tomorrow night, it will actually upgrade. So the chance of rainfall going into tomorrow night will actually be higher than tomorrow during the day, with the chance of thunderstorms there. And for tonight, you actually did have that marginal risk of severe weather that goes for, again, just isolated damage and wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. Excessive rainfall. You actually do have a chance for some excessive rainfall on Monday, and then also a slight risk, meaning that some scattered flash flooding is actually possible on Thursday going into Friday. So definitely have to watch for that. Philadelphia being the third one with low temperatures tonight 74, high temperatures tomorrow 95, and low temperatures tomorrow night 75. There is a slight chance of showers tonight. Patchy fog is also possible tonight and tomorrow. And then in terms of excessive rainfall, first, a minor risk of flooding going into Sunday. I'm going into tomorrow morning, and then also on Wednesday morning going into Thursday. And then you also have some scattered flash flooding that's possible on Thursday going into Friday. Scattered flash flooding there. And then for severe weather, no severe weather is expected at all. And then the final location, that being Duncan, Oklahoma, with low temperatures tonight 76, high temperatures tomorrow at 99, and low temperatures tomorrow night at 76. No precipitation is expected at all. No severe weather is expected at all. And no excessive rainfall is expected. And that's pretty much it for those locations. What's going on throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Severe thunderstorms are expected this afternoon and evening across portions of the upper Midwest into the western Great Lakes. Additional severe storms will also be possible in parts of the northern plains, central Appalachians, and mid-Atlantic. Extreme heat is expected to intensify across much of the southeast and Tennessee Valley today, continuing through much of this week. Also, some fire danger going on in Utah, going into Colorado and Wyoming, also in Northern California and Oregon, and also some heat also going to happen up there in the Northeast as well, in like near New York City, going into New Hampshire, going to Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then also some air quality alerts also in New York and Maine as well. But that's pretty much it. So if, again, let me go ahead and check out the chat real quick. Let's see, Mr. Chris said, don't forget to mention about the extreme heat warning. The extreme heat warnings, yeah, they are there. That's for, again, low country going into, like, the PD region. That's for, obviously, those heat index values all the way up to 113 up there in the National Weather Service of Wilmington area. But then also in the low country, that will be all the way up to around 115 and maybe even 116 or 17. But that is it for those locations. I mean, those are the only places we have excessive heat warnings or extreme heat warnings. Everybody else, like in the Midlands and the Upstate, has just heat advisories for their areas because it's not going to be quite as hot. This will be the hottest area going from the Low Country all the way up towards the Grand Strand and PD region. But, you know, like the Upstate and the Midlands won't necessarily be as hot. Like you can even see over here in the feel like temperatures, just how much more widespread it gets over there on the eastern side than it is like in the upstate or the northern side. But that's it there. Let's go on real quick and check out the poll and the top fans for right now. I said, are you staying hydrated indoors as much as possible? 67% says yes, I am, and 33% says no. But I will this week. Please make sure that if you were not hydrated today, that you definitely drink water tonight. And even, you know, as early as tomorrow morning, even if you're not going outside, make sure that you still stay hydrated even if. And the top fans for tonight, for the first place, for like the, at this point, 10th, 15th day in a row, Mr. Chris is at number 1. Mr. Oliver's at number 2, and Thad is at number 3. Congratulations to the 3 of you all for being the top fans. If you want to be a part of the top fan leaderboard, you have to be here early. You have to be one of the first to chat, get the first up, and be the first one to get to that top spot. But again, it's all for fun. It's not for anything competitive or anything like that. You don't get any special privileges or anything like that if you are the top fan. But that is it for tonight. I will be back tomorrow morning with your Monday morning forecast update. If you have not hit the like button or the subscribe button yet, make sure you go and do so. We're at 548 subscribers, trying to get to 600, 2 away from 550, and we are 52 away from the main goal of 600. So let's go on and get there. Remember to go on and hit those 2 buttons.